this unprecedented to arrest a former president for not turning in documents?
A former president that had committed this many provable criminal acts.
But what are the provable criminal acts, I guess?
What you are about to experience is out of this world. Politics, history, and of course, a lot of entertainment. It's time to rock it with the Docket.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our 104th episode of the Dockery Docket. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. And if you are excited to be here as well, make sure to go down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so then you never miss one of my videos. So, the big story of this week was that on Monday, Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago was raided by the FBI. According to documents, there were certain papers in Donald Trump's house that were deemed to be classified information that average citizens can't have possession of. That includes Donald Trump because now he is an average citizen. However, was this raid actually needed? No, it wasn't at all, because this raid was 110% done for political reasons. And do you want to know how I know that? The FBI/DOJ/ whatever you want to call them have been trying to get rid of Donald Trump since the very beginning of his term in 2016. We saw this with Russiagate. The Steele dossier was nothing but a fairy tale, and the Mueller investigation proved that. It was a load of crap. All that investigation was crap. We also saw this with Ukrainegate. Trump had no quid pro quo in that phone call. Instead, it was Joe Biden that made the quid pro quo to fire the prosecutor that just so happened to be looking into Hunter Biden's shady business deals. We may go a little bit deeper into that later in this episode. Then we have the January 6th, where congressmen and women and the media are lying, claiming that Donald Trump tried to lead a coup against the government. But they leave out the part where Donald Trump said to peacefully and patriotically protest. For all of the 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency, they have tried to stop him. Over and over and over and over again. It has been a constant battle, and this is no different. Now, the story of why all of this happened was because the FBI and DOJ were scared that Trump was hiding classified information. There are multiple examples of Donald Trump and his team being open to federal agents coming in and looking at different documents that Donald Trump had. As in May, Trump's attorney, General Evan Corcoran, granted access for federal agents to go into the storage room. They spent several hours looking through boxes, and Trump even stopped by in the basement and said hello. Then CNN reported that before this raid happened, Justice Department officials went down to Mar-a-Lago again in June to check out all of these different documents. According to the New York Times, the officials were shown the basement storage room where boxes of documents and other memorabilia from Trump's 4 years in the White House were reportedly kept. The outlet added that the 45th president's attorney handed over all documents that were marked top secret. The article also says that CNN and the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump greeted the agents at the start of the meeting, with the Journal quoting him as saying, "I appreciate the job you're doing," and adding, "anything you need, let us know." This clearly doesn't sound like a guy who's trying to hide something from the FBI, but we carry on. As there was this guy named Jay Bratt, who is the Justice Department counterintelligence chief, and he wrote to Trump, or Trump's lawyers, and told them that they actually needed to put a stronger lock on the basement door. According to Trump and others in his administration, a new lock was put on the door, and everything was fine. We can once again see that Trump and his team were working with these people every step of the way. And then on June 22nd, they asked for security footage at Mar-a-Lago, and they turned it over. That's just 3 examples of Trump working with the FBI, working with these people, trying to be open and transparent as much as they can be. This is why Donald Trump was raging mad when he found out that his home in Mar-a-Lago was being raided, because he literally just met with them 2 different times, and they asked for videotapes, and they gave it over to them. He did everything they told him to do, and everything seemed fine. They said nothing about the top secret documents or classified information that were in that basement. They were right there. They could have just taken those documents. No raid needed at all. But they wanted to make a political statement. as Trump fumed on Truth Social as he wrote, "My attorneys and representatives were cooperating fully, and very good relationships have been established." Along with that, Trump said, "The government could have had whatever they wanted if we had it. They asked us to put an additional lock on a certain area. Done. Everything was fine. Better than that of most previous presidents." And then out of nowhere, and with no warning, Mar-a-Lago was raided at 6:30 in the morning by a very large number of agents, and even safecrackers. They got way ahead of themselves. Crazy. You know that lock that we talked about that they told Donald Trump to put on the door of the basement? In the raid, that lock was actually broken. So I guess they did need to have a stronger lock. So this raid happens, and according to sources, they cracked open one of Donald Trump's safes. I'm not sure what they found in there. I believe they took 11 or more boxes of items. I keep getting different reports. Some say 23, some say 12, some say a dozen. I don't know. They took a lot of stuff. And these boxes were labeled as classified or higher marks of classification. They also took different memorabilia, like a letter from Barack Obama and Kim Jong-un, and the pardon of Roger Stone, along with other things. According to the New York Post, they searched Melania Trump's room, which is why one of the agents looked so elegant when he left. All kidding aside, the FBI agents were looking for something specific, and something very, very juicy to get Donald Trump with. This leads to our second story that the FBI told. Trump had secret nuclear weapons information in Mar-a-Lago. As the Washington Post cited people familiar with the investigation, and they said that nuclear weapons documents were thought to be in the trove the FBI was hunting for in Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. They did not specify what kind of documents or whether they referred to the U.S. arsenal or another country's nuclear weapons. The fear here for the FBI and the Democrats is that, well, Trump is a Russian spy, so he has all these nuclear secrets and he is sending them off to Russia or Iran or another country. So then Russia knows how many nukes we have or what kind of weapons we have. It's a little bit of a stretch. But once again, President Trump was not very happy about this and blasted this by saying that it was a hoax. Now, the interesting thing about this part is that the search warrant and the inventory list said nothing about nuclear secrets. We have the whole list right here. We have a bunch of boxes and handwritten notes, but no nuclear codes or information. You could make the argument that some of the boxes that are labeled as miscellaneous or secret documents could have something to do with nuclear weapons. But we will just have to see because these documents haven't been released yet, so we don't know what the FBI actually has. And to me, this all just doesn't even seem real or credible. Like they are trying to get Trump for breaking the Espionage Act, which makes it illegal for anyone who has information related to national defense and to use that information to the inquiry of the United States or to the advantage of any foreign nation. This is why they went after Trump and assumed that he had nuclear weapons information, because they believed that he was or could be sharing them with other nations. Another thing is that when Trump was in office, he was able to declassify whatever he wanted. And there's evidence to say that Donald Trump declassified all of these documents before he left the White House, as there was a report that mentioned that Trump declassified these documents under a standing order. This meant that Trump, while president, could take his work home with him. He could take away documents he wanted to Mar-a-Lago or to Camp David. As according to Trump's office, the very fact that these documents were present at Mar-a-Lago means they couldn't have been classified. As we can all relate to, everyone ends up having to bring home their work from time to time. American presidents are no different. President Trump, in order to prepare for work the next day, often took documents, including classified documents, from the Oval Office to the residence. This means that anything that Trump took to Mar-a-Lago was deemed as unclassified. Trump also claimed on Truth Social that he declassified all these different documents before he left the White House. So if all these documents were unclassified, then that means there shouldn't be an issue, right? Well, if they find the nuclear documents that they have been talking about, it could lead to serious issues, as no American citizen is allowed to have those. That's why I think they are pushing so hard to find some sort of nuclear documents, so they can get Trump for the Espionage Act and make sure that he's thrown in jail or charged with a felony so he can't run for president again in 2024. This is why I believe that all of this is 110% political, because we saw Trump and his team working with the FBI 100%. We saw that Trump had a standing order to make all these documents declassified. Joe Biden and his DOJ are attacking the opposing political party and the possible nominee of the opposing party, which I thought in the past was a terrible thing for a president to do, and that it was a dangerous threat to our democracy. As when Donald Trump was president, he made a phone call with the president of Ukraine. Trump said that the president of Ukraine should look into Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's business deals in Ukraine. This was seen by the Democrats and also the media as a quid quo pro. You investigate my political rivals and I will give you money. Donald Trump was actually impeached the first time because of this phone call, even though there wasn't a quid pro quo at all. And there's actually a video of Joe Biden in Ukraine telling a Ukrainian official that they need to fire a prosecutor or they aren't getting money. And then that prosecutor got fired. This is a real quid pro quo. The prosecutor just so happened to be looking into Hunter Biden's company called Burisma and all of their shady deals. We all know that Hunter Biden was running around the world making shady business deals with different countries like China and Russia and Ukraine. And then he was giving a portion of that money to his father. We also know that Hunter Biden has lost many laptops in the past that are full of Hunter Biden doing illegal activities like drugs and emails talking about how he is getting money from all these different countries and giving them to his father. Both Hunter and Joe Biden have not been raided by the FBI. Their homes weren't destroyed for different documents or different laptops. Because it's different. Along with this, during the 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump made many threats that he wanted to lock up Hillary Clinton. And during one debate, Trump said that he wanted to hire a special prosecutor to get to the bottom of her email scandal. According to the left and the media, this was a dangerous threat to our democracy. We can't have one political opponent attacking and arresting another, but this is what we are seeing right now with the Biden DOJ looking into Donald Trump. They want him arrested or charged so he can't run again. Along with this, Hillary Clinton's emails are different from Trump's documents, as Trump, being president, was able to declassify whatever document he wanted. Hillary Clinton didn't have that power, as she was the Secretary of State, so she couldn't declassify anything, meaning that it was illegal for her to have any classified documents on any computer, any phone that she had. I mean, what if she was selling our secrets to Russia? What if she was a Russian asset? Well, the Justice Department did look into this, and they said that she mishandled documents, but they didn't want to charge her with anything, because it's different. Keep on selling your butthurt emails, t-shirts, and hats, Hillary. Another story is that the judge that signed this warrant to raid Trump's house was Bruce Reinhardt, who worked for the South Florida Attorney's Office. He then quit that job to get a job working for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, that doesn't really matter in this whole story. It's just a smooth segue into talking about how the FBI has gone silent on the Jeffrey Epstein story. Of course, we know that Jeffrey Epstein's house was raided, which is why we have this beautiful painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. But still, there hasn't been any justice for the girls that Jeffrey Epstein either sold to other high-profile figures to sexually assault, or he himself sexually assaulted. Ghislaine Maxwell, his associate, was arrested for trafficking minors to Epstein. And she has a little black book full of names and addresses of nearly 2,000 world leaders, celebrities, and alleged victims. And all of it has remained a secret. The judge even warned against needless name-dropping celebrities and other world leaders. Maybe instead of the DOJ going after Trump and his papers, they should go after Epstein and everyone that is in that little black book. But it's different. The truth is, the FBI and DOJ is known for taking some cases very lightly and other cases throwing their entire weight into a case. For example, Eric Swalwell was sleeping with a Chinese spy. No investigation, no raids needed. Paul Pelosi and his wife Nancy Pelosi are both into insider trading, but the FBI has never raided their house or charged them with any crime. Because the FBI has more important things to do. They don't want to arrest Democratic politicians, they would rather arrest you and Republicans. Like how in October of 2021, the Attorney General of the United States labeled parents as domestic terrorists, as parents were angry at school boards for promoting all of this woke crap. Some of these parents were even arrested. The FBI also went undercover to trick Michigan men into a conspiracy theory to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. This led to 2 men to be acquitted in the plot because the FBI tricked them. The whole plot was basically a scam led by the federal government. Then we have a whole list of Republicans that the FBI has targeted. Rudy Giuliani's house was raided, and they didn't even take Hunter Biden's laptop, which he had. They then raided the home of James O'Keefe and took 2 phones from him because someone happened to give him a diary of Ashley Biden. Now, I'm sure that the FBI isn't just attacking Republicans or people that are conservatives, it's just that, well, it's different. Now, I will be honest with you, this whole situation is just a big old mess, and it is something that we shouldn't accept in our country. If Donald Trump would have done the exact same thing that Joe Biden and his DOJ did to Hillary Clinton, I believe that Trump would have been impeached again. And it just seems like Democrats are brushing the situation off as no big deal. Well, if Trump wasn't doing so much crime, he wouldn't have been raided, is what I continued to see on Twitter after the raid happened. So they are admitting that when Donald Trump or another Republican gets into office in the future, they can go into Joe Biden's house, or they can go into Hillary Clinton's house, or Obama's house, and just take all the documents they want, or even arrest them. There is no way on God's green earth that they would be okay with that. And they would probably call it a threat to our democracy. That's because it is a threat to our country. It is leading our country to be more divided than ever before. And personally, I think it is just going to get worse. We have a former CIA chief named Michael Hayden claiming that Trump should be killed for taking classified documents, as he retweeted a photo of the Rosenbergs, which were American citizens that were giving nuclear secrets to Moscow, and they were executed. And Michael Hayden wrote, "Sounds about right." Once again, they're going off this narrative that Donald Trump is selling our nuclear secrets over to Russia and that he should be executed for it. And I mean, could you imagine a conservative commentator or even a Republican senator saying something like that? They would have been canceled right away or demanded to apologize. But this guy doesn't have to because, well, it's different. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there have been some instances of Trump supporters showing up with guns in front of FBI stations. This is 100% wrong and also stupid, and I don't support this at all. I support people going out and peacefully protesting. I've talked about this multiple times on this show. However, if it turns to violence of any kind, I will condemn it. Democrat, Republican, Independent, I don't care. I don't like violence. Luckily, so far, no one has been hurt, but I am hoping and praying that everything remains peaceful and calm in our divided country right now. Because in the end, right now, Republicans are angry and ticked off over the situation. So much so that Trump supporters are having parades in the street. My neighbor got so mad at this situation that he took his Trump sign, cut off the part that said Mike Pence in 2020, and put it in his yard. Looking on the bright side of this whole situation, it could help Republicans mobilize and re-elect Donald Trump or another Republican, because people are starting to understand that this was injustice. And changing injustice doesn't mean going out and fighting people. It doesn't mean shooting people with guns. It means standing up and fighting for what you believe for at the ballot box. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.